What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be learning how to implement pinch to zoom in your UI kit application. So we've got this conspicuous looking purple square here. I'm going to hold Option on my keyboard so we get this two-finger interaction, and boom, just like that, we can pinch to zoom in, we can pinch it to zoom out, and basically what you would expect to happen. Pretty common gesture used in a lot of places by Apple themselves and a bunch of other apps. So yeah, we'll take a look at how to put this together. Start by destroying the like button as per usual. Hit subscribe if you're into iOS and want to stick around. That all said, let's get into the video. Alright, let's go ahead and get started by opening up Xcode and creating a new project. We're going to stick with the app template under iOS, and let's go ahead and call this project Pinch to Scale. We want to make sure our language is set to Swift and our lifecycle is UIKit and interface storyboard. We'll be working programmatically. Go ahead and continue, save the project wherever you'd like. I'll toss it onto my desktop here. And first things first, we're going to expand our Xcode window and close the attribute inspector, and then I'm going to jump into my view controller and bump up the font size. So what we basically want to do is create a view that we're going to add a pinch gesture to, and then we'll talk about how to actually scale it up and down and adjust the scale factor on the screen such that you can actually see it zooming in and out. So let's go ahead and create a view first and foremost. I'm going to call it my view, and we're going to create it as a anonymous closure here. No crazy setup, but we're just going to give it a background color. So I'll say my view. We're going to return my view. And in here, maybe we'll go ahead and give it a background color of system. Let's go with system purple. And let's come down here to view to load, and we want to, of course, add it as a sub view. Now, the other thing that's important is we want to have a constant square size of this view to start out. So I'm going to create this up here. I'm going to say private let size is going to be a CG float, and maybe it's 200. And here we can go ahead and say my view.frame is going to be CG rect, where the X and Y will be 0, 0. This will be size, this will be size. Now we just want this to be centered, so we're going to go ahead and say my view.center is going to be view.center. Now go ahead and select a simulator and give your project a build and run. And you should see a purple square pop up in the middle of your view controller. So bear with my simulator here. Hopefully it shows up. All right, there we have it. Now we got to add the pinch gesture. So before we talk about that, for those of you not familiar, you can hold the Option key while you hover over your simulator, and you can actually see these two circle dot looking things that you get. And this is how you actually simulate a two-finger interaction on your simulator. So pretty important to test out the pinch. So let's go ahead and create a function, and we're going to call it add gesture. And I'm just going to call it right down here at the bottom of view to load, add gesture. And in here, it's pretty simple. We're just going to create a pinch gesture, which is going to be of type UI pinch gesture recognizer, where target is self, and we want to create a selector. And before I fill in the function the gesture is going to invoke, let's create that function. It's going to be a private func did pinch, and it needs to take in a argument of the actual caller, which is the UI pinch gesture, and you guys will see why in a moment. In this selector, we can make did pinch, and now that we've got the gesture created here, we just need to add it to our view. So we'll say my view, add gesture recognizer, and we're going to pass in pinch gesture. Now, when the pinch gesture is actually invoked and it goes ahead and calls the particular function down here, we want to do a couple things. The first thing we want to do is we want to only update the scale, aka zoom in or zoom out, if the gesture state is in the changed, that's not how you spell changed, in the changed state. Now, once it's in the changed state, we can actually get the scale factor by which the user has just pinched. And it's pretty simple. It's right off of the actual gesture. And before I actually go ahead and update the frame, let's just print out the scale so you guys can see what's going on. So if I go ahead and run this, and I hold Option, let's say I start in the middle, and I start expanding outwards, you'll see in the console that everything is, above 1, aka that we're scaling up from 1 and then to 2, 3, all the way up to 6. And similarly, if I take my Option key and I start dragging in the edges inwards, you'll see that we now start going sub 1. So we've got 0.3. So this is basically a percentile per which you have expanded your fingers or collapsed. And the way we want to calculate this is not relative to the current frame. So what a lot of people will do is they'll say, okay, the current frame is myView.frame, and then myView dot frame is going to be cgrect 00, and for the width and height we want this to be relative, so a lot of people will do frame dot width times the scale, and this one will be frame dot height times the scale, and this is actually incorrect. And actually, if we give it a run, you'll see why it's incorrect, and the reason is because it will continuously do the multiplication, so you're going to see some ridiculous effects on the screen. So if I start pinching down, it just got insanely small, and for some reason it actually moved up to the corner, and the reason that happened is because I forgot to center it here. We're going to say myView.center is view.center, but either way what you're going to see is some ridiculous interaction. So let's go ahead and try to scale it up, and you'll see like that a tiny pinch is scaled up to the whole screen, so that's not good. So how do we fix this? Well, instead of using the current frame's width and heights, you want to use some original factor. So we called it size, and that was 200. Since the original frame had a width and height of 200, we're going to use that and multiply that by the scale factor. And now if you go ahead and try to pinch to zoom in and out, you'll see that it's very, very smooth. So pinch out, pinch in. So now it's like as I move my cursor, you can see that it's fluid as you would expect on your actual device. Now pinch gestures are really great because you can use them for a ton of different functionality. You can pair them with further animations if you want the user to be able to zoom into a photo and you're not using a scroll view that has some zooming capabilities built in, right? Some pinching capabilities. So yeah, I mean, like this is a very, very fundamental gesture. You can get pretty crazy with it. I know Apple uses it in a ton of different places. So let me know down below in the comments, what do you guys use this for? Do you use pinch to zoom in any of your own apps? Do you plan to use it? Any feedback you guys might have, any video suggestions, always love hearing from you guys. Drop a like down below if you haven't done so already for the video. Hit subscribe if you're into iOS and want to stick around. Almost at 30K subs. We'll get there super quick if y'all smash that subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.